It's hard to believe, but Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace is now a quarter of a century old. On release, the Star Wars Prequel Trilogy was criticised and lambasted for its complicated plot, poor writing and bad acting. Now, with the passage of time, the prequels are starting to find love and appreciation. We're here to choose our favourite moments from Episodes 1, 2 and 3. But first, somebody you might recognise is here with 10 prequel facts.
Thank you very much. Now, I may have made a bit of a mistake here, Pav, and I'm going to own it on the podcast. I've only done Phantom Menace moments and facts.
You have one fucking job to do.
Well, I thought I was so wanted to be concentrating on the Phantom Menace being 25 years. I got it into my
fine,
head.
mate. Mate, you can do what you like. You could do about the normal trilogy if you like. It's just nice to have you back.
No. So mine will just be the Phantom Menace, and I'll explain why. And that was my misunderstanding. But here we go. Facts away. So this is all about the Phantom Menace, 25 years. Wow. So, fact 1, Carrie Fisher worked as a script doctor on the Phantom Menace, polishing the script and refining the dialogue.
Hello there.
Tupac Shakur auditioned to play Mace Windu in the film. E.T. appears in the Phantom Menace and is credited as Senator Greebleps, which is Spielberg spelled backwards. At one point during the pre-visualization of the Phantom Menace, the pod race lasted 25 minutes before it was cut down to the 9-minute race scene in the film. Keira Knightley plays Sabe, one of Padme's handmaidens in The Phantom Menace. Knightley went on from this to be going for her roles in The Pirates of the Caribbean, Love Actually, and while making The Phantom Menace, Natalie Portman's mother had difficulty telling her daughter and Knightley apart.
Roger, roger. Roger, roger. Roger, roger.
The bobbing up and down that Obi-Wan does before running to Darth Maul to fight in The Phantom Menace was improvised by Ewan McGregor as a way to hype himself up for the duel. In the credits of The Phantom Menace, it says visual effects crew fueled by Michael Smith of Java the Hutt. Java the Hutt is the coffee shop at Lucasfilm's headquarters.
So uncivilized.
The film is set 32 years before the original Star Wars.
Do it.
Oh, sorry, guys. That tickled me. During the first week...
Do it.
During the first week of the first trailer's release... Right, control thyself.
Come on, professional. Right. Come on.
During the first week of the first trailer's release,
Sorry.
many theatres reported up to 75% of their audience paying full price for a movie, then walking out after Star Wars Episode 1 trailer was shown.
There's always a bigger fish.
And despite mixed reviews, the film was a commercial success, becoming the first Star Wars film to surpass the $1 billion mark at the global box office.
Now this is pod racing.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, it's a monumental episode in many ways. We're tackling the trilogy, the prequel trilogy, but not only. It's the return of Neo.
Hello,
there
everyone.
Hello,
everyone.
There he is.
Back,
it's so good
back
to
for a little
see
bit.
that.
Thank you very much. Now, to everybody that listened and has reached out to me, thank you very much for all the love, the support, and everything. It means the world to me. I will just say that now. You've kept me on my toes and on my feet, and thank you so much. That's all I'm going to say.
Now, are they supposed to be really poor puns with the fact that you've been off because of your bad leg? You're talking about toes and feet. What are you doing, man?
Yeah. Well, I've got to use them while I can. Use them while I can.
Indeed, you do. It's lovely to have you back, mate. It
Thank you very much.
It feels so nice to see you. There's been a couple of little changes.
Okay.
So first of all, before we start and do anything, we've got to do this, okay?
Lisa's challenge.
What the fuck are you saying?
So this is Lisa Buchanan's bit now. She's got her own bit.
Nice.
So basically what we've got to do, this is to work out how many duplicates we're going to have.
Okay.
Okay, so
Well,
out of the
probably
top,
only a couple, I think, because I've
well, there
only
you
done
go. But
Phantom Menace.
so you have to tell me: have you only chosen bits from the Phantom Menace, or have you got bits from?
Yeah, because I got it in my head that it was 25 years. I really concentrated and thought, well, let's do it. And I forgot to check, and I just bombarded myself with Phantom
Okay,
Menace.
I mean
I
that's fair enough.
rewatched it. I've
That's
been on,
fair enough.
been on it.
I mean, you know,
But
like
I mean,
say.
I can make some notes as we go.
I mean,
can
it's up.
probably-
It's entirely up to you, mate.
but
Honestly, but
yeah, I'll make some notes.
but never mind. So, out of the 10, how many do you think we're going to have the same?
If I can think on my feet, I will go probably most of them 8.
Oh, okay.
I think it might
Okay.
be quite a lot, to be
I'm
honest.
going to go for 8. I'm going to go for 6.
Okay.
Okay, and we will obviously at the end we will check. We will check on this. And again, before we get into the deep and geeky conversation all about Star Wars, the prequels, maybe even touch on what's going on at the moment, the divisiveness of Star Wars at the moment as well.
Oh yeah.
But first of all, we want to say hello to Carlo Gregg, who's our latest Patreon top head. So
hello,
thank you very
Carlo.
much, Carlo, and thank you very much for supporting our little pod. So
Yes, thank
bless
you,
you,
very much.
Carlo, and Carlo. There's a very, very cool name as well. That's what I say.
Mm.
Okay, so Neil, it has been 25 years since the first of the prequel trilogy, which we never thought we were going to get. When OG Star Wars fans really never thought that episodes 1, 2, and 3 were ever going to come. Where did you stand on them when they first came out, and where do you stand with them now?
Right, so I'll go with the Phantom Menace first. I was one of those people that paid to see the Prince of Egypt just so I could see the trailer. I'll start with the Phantom Menace. When I first watched it, I felt a little bit of disappointment. I don't know whether you did. The very first watch.
Right, the very first watch I watched it, we went to go and buy tickets. Myself and my wife went to go and buy tickets. And the guy said, when I went in and said, can I have 2 tickets for like an afternoon showing? And they said, well, it's going to start in about 5 minutes. So I ran out to my wife and said, look, do you want to go off to do some shopping? Because they're going to show it right now. So I'm going to go and watch it. And I watched it, came out and thought it was the greatest movie I'd ever seen.
Right.
And then I think it was every showing after that, I started pick holes in it.
But I have to say, I didn't sort of dislike it. I just was a bit like underwhelmed. I think it was some of the dialogue. I went to see it again. Like I probably saw it about 5 times at the cinema, maybe not as many as you may have done. But I sort of grew, and I've now grown to really like it. When I watched it, well, it literally would have only been 2 weeks ago. I was swept away with it. I really enjoyed it. I think there's a lot to appreciate about it, and a lot to know. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's moved up. It's overtaken Attack of the Clones for me in the trilogy.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones for me is out of the Skywalker trilogy, Skywalker saga. That's number 8, and Rise of Skywalker is number 9.
Yeah,
so it's always been my worst of the 3. I watched Revenge of the Sith a couple of days ago, and again, it's just the fact that it's just like bad dialogue, and the fact that all of the actors. I mean, Hayden Christensen, I don't think is great in Revenge of the Sith.
No.
But what Natalie Portman does with it is Oscar worthy, because some of the dialogue she has to say is terrible. It is so bad, but the same as Adam Driver does in the sequel trilogy, goes for it and really and treats it like it's Shakespeare. And her performances are fantastic. So there are certain people, which I will mention in my top 10, that you have to give them props for what they did with the material that they had. Technically wise, I think all the 3 films are superb. They still hold up now.
They do. There's bits.
There's bits. No, there are bits. Yeah,
there are. Some of Yoda in Attack of the Clones, not the fight.
No,
which I'll say no more.
Yeah.
But not the fight. But there's some bits when he's talking and it really looks cartoony rather than. So you sort of miss the puzzle. But the problem with Attack of the Clones is that dull segment of love. When he's bouncing on the testicle in the thing. You forget how bad it is. And, it's sort of eased with some great moments. And there really is, like I said, the Yoda fight, and there's other bits that really are fantastic. But Revenge of the Sith, I think, is a really great film with poor acting, like you said. Hayden Christensen's not great, but it's basically Ewan McGregor's film, isn't it? That one, to be honest.
The idea of it, and the idea of the turn, and the thing. I mean, whether we'll sort of talk about it now or not, but and it becomes such a minefield to talk about, like, the up to today's Star Wars.
Yeah, because
there is so much like virtue signaling on it. And have you watched any of The Acolyte yet?
No.
Right.
No, I've read so many things. I'm not particularly bothered.
As we're recording this, the 4th episode came out today.
Yeah.
And episode 3 is one of the worst things I think I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
In wokeism, if you like.
Okay.
Episode 4, what they're doing is basically shitting all over George Lucas's Star Wars. There's a character that's in episode 1 is in episode 4 that just changes everything that he was talking about in episode 4. So it's like Ki-Adi-Mundi, one of the Jedi. So in Phantom Menace, when they're talking about the Sith that attacks Qui-Gon Jinn, and again, apologies for all you that aren't Star Wars nerds, but we're going to talk like nerds for the next hour or hour and a half or so. He says, but the Sith haven't been around for a millennia. In The Acolyte, there is a Sith, and Ki-Adi-Mundi is one of the people that is thinking about not telling Yoda. So it kind of like, hang on a minute. So the whole thing that George Lucas has set up, and the Force is different. It's threads, and Anakin is now not the only one that is a child without a father. There are twins in The Acolyte, and I look. As a white male, white heterosexual male, as soon as you start saying things about it, you start getting, you are all these different isms, and I'm just tired of it now. I'm just happy, I think, to take my original trilogy, maybe even the prequel trilogy, the first 2 series of Mandalorian and Andor, and just go off.
Maybe Obi-Wan.
Maybe the Anakin versus Obi-Wan thread in that. Take them away and just enjoy those for what they are. I think
that. Yeah, I mean, because they are. Is it confirmed? Did I read somewhere it was confirmed? But series 2 of Obi-Wan, haven't they?
I think so. But, there was something. Yeah, they were saying something about.
Because I was reading. I was watching a YouTube video, I should say, of them talking, and they think the villain in it will be Darth Maul again. But from the Clone Wars, with his spider legs. Spoilers if nobody's seen all of that.
But then see in the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan and Darth Maul have already had that second meeting, and Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul. Spoilers if you've not seen it.
Yeah.
So it's stuff we've already. I mean, I don't know. I just don't agree with what they're doing to Star Wars now. They seem to be watering down George Lucas's whole mythos of it all.
It's times to come away, isn't it? I think from the Lucas universe, you've got a whole thing you can do away from the Skywalker universe and the Vader universe and do something new.
But then that's what I thought this Acolyte was going to be, because it's set like 87 years before the Phantom Menace.
Right.
So it's in an era that nobody really knows anything about it. But for them then to rewrite what the Force is and about like Immaculate Conceptions and stuff like that, it's still shitting all over George Lucas's original plans. So again, I want to make this a celebration of the prequels rather than I just feel like I had to say that, because I will still watch the rest of it, but I think I'm like a lot of people now. The one thing that the Acolyte has done is it has united the majority of Star Wars fans
of hating it
into one goal. Yeah, because normally they're very divisive about this, that, and the other. The majority of them just don't like it and don't like the fact that they're shitting over everything that George Lucas built up. So,
I mean, my son's a massive Star Wars fan, and he said he watched the first episode and he's sort of not bothered to see the rest. At the moment.
The first 2 were okay. They had some nice choreography, but the 3rd episode, when it's a coven of female witches, and one of them. See, the thing is, like, the whole point of like Revenge of the Sith, especially, is that Palpatine is saying to Anakin that like Darth Plagueis has been trying to create life, and there are other Sith that have tried to create life, yet there's this one woman witch that no one knows about that has managed to, is so powerful, she's managed to create two lives, twins. So anyway, let's not get dragged down into that. If you want to send us emails about us complaining about that, then by all means do, but join the fucking queue as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
We're just here to, and in the end, I think everybody that is a Star Wars fan just wants good Star Wars. They don't want like list ticking, and they don't want all of that kind of stuff. They want to just see. I don't care who is the star as long as it's a great story.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I'm not bothered. No.
It doesn't matter. And in the end, I think the thing about the prequels was the underlying story. If you take out taxations on trade routes and that kind of stuff,
yeah,
the journey of Anakin is a great journey. It's a Shakespearean story, isn't it? It's a story of tragedy and heartbreak and
that's right.
And violence.
I mean, I put some of the bits in. I mean, I'm going to put some other bits which I will do. I'll change, but you know, when I was watching it, I was thinking there's some really pivotal bits in there, like Yoda and Mace Windu was my number 10, and I'm not using that now. And there's conversation between them about the future of the Jedi Order and all of that, and the rise of the Sith. I didn't twig it at first watching it, but the more you see it, the more you realise, well, hang on, he really has set up the story. All right, there's gaping plot holes, but it's space, and it's a space opera, isn't it?
It is. Before we actually get into our number 10, I wanted to do this. You've already seen this. Now, when I was on holiday, it was May the 4th. So everybody was celebrating at Galaxy's Edge, celebrating the 25th anniversary. I've got my cap and I got my 25th anniversary T-shirt on.
I love it.
And one of the things that I was very lucky to get when I came home was this bad boy. Now, I have already shown you this, haven't I?
Yeah, I love it.
Now, I got to make sure that it works. It doesn't only look very impressive, but I got to press this because it gets stuck. So I was a very lucky boy, and my lovely wife got me an early birthday present. And as you can see, I mean, it is just a thing of beauty.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
I am not going to whip it out. But as you can see, I was a very, very happy boy when it came to coming home from holiday and having that on my doorstep. So I thought I would just do a little show and tell, a little unveiling. Oh shit, it's going to start again. Hang on, I'm trying to turn it off. Oh shit. Right, that's it. So now I got to try and get the... Oh, bollocks. Fuck off, Darth Maul. Right, there we go. I just thought I'd show that before we kicked off. I should have done that as my intro. That should have just been my intro, really. Okay, right then, Neil. Kick us off with your number 10.
So I have changed it up after what I said.
Oh,
I'm going to go Attack of the Clones, the arena fight at the end with where they're tied to the poles or pillars or whatever it is, and they have to escape. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it was an amazing fight finale at the end. It has aged a little bit, that one.
Has it? I haven't seen Attack of the Clones for a long time.
Watch it. It's still got a great sort of... It's what I call a kid's own adventure. It's what... When I was a kid, I would think that was probably one of the greatest things. You've got monsters or dinosaur type things. You've got stormtroopers. You've got fights here, fights there, and you don't know how they're going to escape. The escapism of them coming out and getting out, and Padme proving that she's a bit more of a warrior than you've ever seen before. Anakin and Obi-Wan, and obviously I'll talk about more of that fight later on. But I'm actually saying the arena bit.
Yeah,
and those, you know, it harks me back to the times of Doug McClure.
Fucking hell, there's a name I never thought we'd say on this podcast, Doug McClure.
Well, as a kid, you see, I've been reminiscing a bit about this, and as a kid, I used to love the Doug McClure
Absolutely.
movies. I used to think they were the best thing. I was excited when they were on telly. I didn't have a VHS, a video player, when I first started to watch them, so it was always, you'd see them in the paper, got to watch it, and Wonderful, wonderful. Warlords of Atlantis, was it?
Yeah,
Land That
like
Time
Land That
Forgot.
Time Forgot. It was all of those kind of. It was the movies where they would use like a lizard superimposed as a dinosaur kind of thing, wasn't it?
Or some strange sort of model that they built in some of them.
Yeah, they were great sort of movies to watch at Christmas and that kind of thing. Yeah,
and that Attack of the Clones, it might not resonate like that to yourselves and everything, but to me, it reminds me of that bygone era, and that's why I sort of really enjoy that. You know, you've got unknown foes. You don't know how they get. Well, you know they're going to get away, but you don't know what they're going to do, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a romp.
I think you say that as well because Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi does that thing where he's got like a spear. And he does that thing like, say, Jason and the Argonauts as well. All those Ray Harryhausen movies. He's shaking the obviously at nobody. The one thing that always, I've said this before, I don't think I've said it on the podcast, but the one thing that always gets me about Attack of the Clones is the terrible wig that they give Ewan McGregor, because obviously they do. The one thing that George Lucas likes doing, and a lot of people like doing now, is reshoots. So they'll shoot it all. When Ewan McGregor has got a grown-in beard, has got his hair, which was the mullet in Attack of the Clones. Right. And then, obviously, they've gone off and gone to do other movies and stuff. So Ewan McGregor has shaved his beard off, cut his hair. So then they give him this stupid wig, and they stick on a beard.
And it's noticeable.
Oh, like, my God, crazy, you can tell the bits, because one minute he's talking to Hayden Christensen, and then it'll cut to Hayden Christensen, and it'll cut back to Ewan McGregor, and they've obviously slipped another line in there, and he's got this stupid wig on, and this beard, and it just looks ridiculous. So you think with all of that money they can spend, the millions on special effects, they can't sort out a good fucking fake beard. It always really, really gets on my goat.
Yeah.
So, but that is, I mean, to see all those Jedi and their lightsabers all flash at the same time, and that is great.
It's a fanboy's dream, isn't it? There's part of it. To be fair, it really is.
It is. My number 10 is also from Episode 2, and it's the Jango Fett space chase when Ewan McGregor.
My number 7.
Oh,
is that
there you go.
Yeah. When Ewan McGregor jumps.
Oh no, not that one.
Oh, okay.
No, sorry. This is the one when they're in space, and I can't remember now. Is
that with the bombs?
Yeah. So it's those amazing sort of bombs that have got that amazing sound effect that Ben Burt would have done as sound editor. It kind of there's a name for that kind of charge, isn't there?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is now. I'm terrible. Somebody I'm sure will message us and let us know. But whereas the sound that they drop the charge, you see the damage, and then the sort of wave, the sound wave hits you. Yeah. And when you've got surround sound on that, it is just amazing.
Oh, it wasn't the bit that I was thinking of where Obi-Wan jumps. It's the Obi fight I've written.
Right.
Jango and Obi-Wan fight.
Right.
So sorry.
Yeah. So for me, just the sound design on that is great, because I think Jango is chasing Obi-Wan Kenobi and thinks that he's blown him up, and he hasn't actually blown him up, obviously. But it's just that sound, and that's the one thing that Ben Burt was amazing at all through, right from 77, is creating these amazing sounds out of different things that just sound Star Wars, and just sound like Star Wars. It's just.
But yeah, that is great, and I remember seeing that at the cinema and just thinking that noise. It gives you shudders still. No.
Oh my God, absolutely. But that was my number 10. Okay, your number 9 then, please.
So it's the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, pretty much. It's the Dooku fight with Anakin and Obi-Wan at the beginning there, when it's the real start of Anakin's dark side, you know, where the Emperor's telling him to cut his head off, basically. Spoilers. But the whole fight there it's a great fight. It's a nasty little fight.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. It's where, because Revenge of the Sith is where basically Star Wars became in the UK a 12 certificate. It went from being used to Attack of the Clones we thought was odd, which was a PG, which was actually even cut, wasn't it, to get a PG certificate, because it had the headbutt with the bit that I was talking about.
That's right. And Attack of the Clones, yeah. And that's where this famous bit comes from. Yeah. Which is the Emperor going, yeah, which I could never understand. It was such a weird little thing,
isn't it?
A weird.
But yeah, it's a great fight, and I think they do it really well with Dooku. you know, the the superimposed.
They put like a map of his face over it. Yeah,
but yeah, it was the first time they did that, and I thought it worked really well. To be fair, really well.
Yeah. Have you ever seen? I think I've mentioned these to you before. The Mr. Plinkett videos about the prequels.
I haven't watched them, but you have mentioned it.
Yeah, they kind of ruined the prequels for me because it's a character from Red Letter Media, and he became so famous because it's an old man character, if you like, but he's the points he makes about each individual prequel movie,
right,
makes you watch them because it's basically, that doesn't make sense, or why have they done that, because this doesn't, you know, if they've done that, why does that doesn't make sense. And they are fantastic videos because they really make you watch the prequels in a completely different way. And like I say, they're done for comedic effect, but some of the points they make are so clever. If you don't, I mean, I'll try and put some of the videos on the video playlist because...
Say it again, Mr. Plinkett.
It's Mr. Plinkett, yeah, from Red Letter Media. He's also done videos on the 2016 Ghostbusters, on Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and they are fantastic. They are funny, they are disturbing, but they're also, like I say, some of the points he makes about the prequels, you sort of go, yeah, why did they do that? Because that doesn't really make any sense. Or just the fact that some of the storyline just is stupid. Just what the characters do is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that I think with the way that I don't think it's the first turning of Anakin being
well, not really.
On his turn to the dark side. I think that can be in the Phantom Menace. His first, not necessarily turning to evil, but his laying the foundations of him becoming.
Yeah, that's the subtleness, and I mean, you see a bit obviously in Attack of the Clones, but that's probably one of the darker moments.
Oh yeah, yeah, without a doubt, and the fact that he can be easily led as well, because he knows that he shouldn't cut Dooku's head off. But he just does, you know, because...
And it's brutal for a Star Wars. We've never seen that, really. Very brutal. The way he does it is old school sort of samurai style.
And especially when, again, Palpatine says...
Do it. Do it.
I'm going to have to get that soundbite and make it my text notification.
Yes. Or if you're not having a good day and you're in your bed, just going to people, you know...
Do it.
Just get people around you to be, you know, when you go and see the nurse or whatever.
Yeah, and I've got to go for that treatment.
Do it.
Yeah, are you ready?
Do it.
Yeah. Okay, my number 9. Possibly people think this could be a bit higher, but I'm going to go for the pod race in episode 1.
Oh, now that is my number 6.
That's
Definitely
your number 6. Yeah. I think because I think it changed a lot of things, and I think this was the scene that stopped George Lucas from doing episode 1 earlier than it was, because the technology wasn't there to do this kind of scene at that particular time in 97 when he first wrote, or 96 maybe, might have been earlier than that when he actually wrote The Phantom Menace. But this, I mean, I only noticed a couple of years ago just how much of the scene there is without music.
Oh, really? I suppose there is. I've never really noticed.
Yeah, John Williams' music is obviously synonymous with how great Star Wars is. Star Wars would never be the same without Ben Burtt's sound effects, and just definitely wouldn't be the same without John Williams' music. But it's the scene has gone on for a good, I don't know how many minutes before the music actually comes in.
Oh. It's funny how you don't notice. I suppose you get sucked in. Because watching that for the first time,
I think that's what makes that is because you get sucked into the whole race, if you like, and the rivalry. That it only comes in a little bit later on when it really starts ramping up. So,
because it reminds me a little bit of what they tried to do with the Return of the Jedi and the speed bikes. You know, when it's that sort of thing, but. when you first watched that, I was so amazed at how fast it really looked.
Yes.
I was like,
yes.
wow, okay.
Yeah.
And I was a bit dubious about it because you got some, when they're all cute, lining up, there's some awful dialogue and Anakin bits again, and you're thinking, oh my God. When I first saw it, I genuinely thought this is going to make me cringe, I think.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's fantastic. It holds up so well today. I mean, in my facts, I said, about it being a 25-minute. Imagine that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. Great moment. Great moment in a movie. Just, Imagine, take yourself back to being a child and watching that again.
Well, see, this is the thing. I think this is why the prequel trilogy now is getting so much love, is because the kids that went and saw it 25 years ago are now adults that are taking their kids or showing their kids this movie, and they're appreciating it more because that is their Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know that like my grandkids, they do like A New Hope and stuff like that, but they will watch like the prequel trilogy, and they watch the sequel trilogy way more than anything else.
Wow.
So it's what your Star Wars is, isn't it? I think.
Because Phantom Menace certainly was. I know we talk about some of the dialogue, which is so adult and so confusing, even for adults. Some of it with, like you say, the trade routes and all of that. But the jokes to it is, you've got a character like Jar Jar Binks that's gonna. We all hated him, but the kids would have loved.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think I would have loved him as a kid and thought he was funny, And I actually think he dropped a bit of a bollock not putting him in. I know he's in there briefly in Attack of the Clones, but being a character again, he should have been there for the rest of it. He's no more annoying sometimes than C-3PO was.
No, that's true. And like, there's been a lot of memes. It would have been great if he was the Phantom Menace. If Jar Jar had been like the mastermind behind it all.
You imagine?
I mean, how genius would that have been? That he's just playing this clumsy, floppy-eared, putz, where actually he's this Sith Lord that is putting all these pieces together. That'd have been so funny. Okay, so your number 8 then, please, Neil.
So it's the Darth Maul's first fight in the desert when they're running back to the ship. The entrance and the fight there, it's something unknown, isn't it? And I think Darth Maul, out of all the villains, looks, and I'm sorry to have to say it, looks the coolest now.
Yeah.
After watching it again, Ray Park, it just looks so good. And he looks evil. I know Darth Vader's evil, and it was something we were used to earlier, but Darth Vader's a little bit dated now in his outfit. I'm sorry to have to say it. You can see that it was made in the 70s.
Controversial.
I mean, I love Darth Vader, and I've got many Darth Vader things around, and I will always love him. But when you compare him to like Kylo Ren, maybe, and then definitely Darth Maul, I think he looks a bit 70s. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I'm not
dissing him as a character, and I'm not dissing his uniform or anything like that, but I just think Darth Maul is the coolest, like Sith maybe.
And don't you think, I mean, you're not a Rebels or...
I've not finished them. I got a little bit...
Clone Wars or anything like that.
I watched a lot of the Clone Wars. That's the one I did see.
Because obviously he's back in that, isn't he? He's
He's in the Clone Wars, definitely, with his spider leg.
Yeah, so for me, I've not watched much of the Clone Wars.
Right.
So he's kind of like what Boba Fett used to be for me.
Yeah.
And then they've obviously done the Book of Boba Fett, and they've kind of ruined the legend of him because they've gone into detail of who he is. You don't need that. So I'm kind of waiting that there'll be a Darth Maul TV series, or like you say, he comes back in Obi-Wan.
Well,
there's no need,
rumor, isn't it? Yeah.
There's no need because you've seen him. He's mysterious. He hardly says anything. He's cool as fuck.
On that bike as well.
Yeah, you don't need, and he's got like I think one of the coolest lightsabers that's there.
Yeah.
And also Ray Park is just amazing as him. He does things that you think, well, that must have been special effects, and it isn't. It's him doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you. Although that didn't actually make my top 10.
But it was sort of like that fear as well when he first turns up, in Qui-Gon. You think, okay, he doesn't quite know what this is
exactly,
and who he is and what it is. And yeah, I think it's a great moment.
I agree. I agree with that one. Although it isn't in my top 10, but I still agree.
Yeah.
My number 8, now I'm just going for it's a very short moment. Episode 3, everything's all gone to shit. The Emperor is just kicking back in his office, and little Yoda just walks into his office, getting ready to like talk to him. And the two Emperor's guards, one either side of the door, go for Yoda, and Yoda just a little flick of the wrist, and they smash against the door and just fall down. So it's just the fact that it shows you the power that Yoda has for someone so small. It is a brilliant little throwaway joke, if you like. I haven't got the Yoda versus Count Dooku fight, which I probably should have done. But
that surprises me.
Yeah, but that for me was the moment for me that shows you just how powerful Yoda was. The fact that these two strapping guards that are the security guards for the Emperor, it's just a flick of the wrist and boom, they're both gone. He hasn't got to worry about them. So I always find it really funny, but I always find it also shows you just how powerful Yoda is. So I had that one in mind. Okay, you're number 7, Neil. Now you sort of mentioned it already.
This is the Jango and Obi-Wan fight in Attack of the Clones in the rain, where the headbutt,
Camino,
where the headbutt would have been if you've got the, I think it's back in now where they reclassified it at 12.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it again.
Because when that first came out on DVD, I actually ordered the American version.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to see. I mean, it was a bit pointless, really. That's the only thing that was cut out. But it's a great little fight. I mean, again, it's another situation where they're in the rain. But Jango Fett, how do you feel about Jango Fett and Boba Fett and all of that?
Yeah, see, I don't know, because the weird thing is I love the design of Boba Fett. I love his colours. I love the helmet. I love the design of the Mandalorian even more. There's just something about that whole silver kind of look is very cool. He seems too shiny.
Yeah.
Jango Fett. He seems, and I've never really, like, I've got Boba Fett's helmet, I've got Mandalorian's helmet. I've never thought, I really want to get Jango Fett's helmet. And I don't know whether it's because I'm not a big fan of Attack of the Clones. I don't know. But
I mean, it's a great fight. It goes on, and there's some great sort of tense moments. It's what I would call part of Lucas's like Indiana Jones phase, where he gets pushed off the side and has to climb up, and all of those, and and he's using all those. So it has the moments that I really enjoy. That
and you see, are you allowed? Is it called Slave One anymore? Are you allowed to call it Slave One?
That's what I still know it.
I'm always going to call it that. But you see Slave One as well, and it's got that lovely little Easter egg as well, hasn't it? When he's at the end of the fight, when he's going up the ramp, if you've noticed, he bangs his head.
Oh, that's right.
And that's supposed to. But then, see, now that actually doesn't make sense, because that's supposed to be a callback to A New Hope when the Stormtrooper. But those Stormtroopers aren't clones.
No, they're not.
Those Stormtroopers are conscripted, like just people.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Which took me an age to realise. That I thought they were just like droids or robots when you were a kid, didn't you?
I did, until then you realise that's why they're such bad shots.
Yeah,
is because they're just like you and me. They're farmers, or they're fucking people that worked in a bank or whatever. So it makes bank would
Star Wars. When I've told people this, it makes Star Wars a really violent film.
Absolutely.
And I didn't realise it, because I thought, like I said, as a child or a younger person, I thought for ages they were just shooting at droids or robots, and it didn't matter.
But then also, I mean, even if you just look at the fact that, like the A New Hope, someone gets their arm lopped off. Empire, Luke gets his hand lopped off. Someone gets thrown down a fucking ventilation shaft or something in episode 6. There's so much violence, and there's always like people's arms or something being chopped off. Or
Empire, the end of Empire, Han Solo going in the carbonite.
Yeah.
Brutal,
it's
really.
a frightening. Some of it is really frightening. So,
and to think they were all used certificates.
I know.
It's crazy.
Oh God, how times have changed.
Isn't it?
But that is a good one. That is a good one. I think it's like I say, to see something like, I love the Slave One ship.
Yeah,
I just do. There's something it looks like an iron, I know, but it's just got that design that is just great. It's a typical, same as like the Millennium Falcon. The production design is just, it's just that side of believable. Do you know what I mean? But it's totally from a galaxy far, far away, which I just
because I think I didn't have the official Kenner whatever it was Slave One.
Yeah, I did.
But I did you?
Yeah, I did.
But I definitely bought. I can always remember buying. You could take it apart, but buy big panels. And I bought a Slave One, and it was in the shop that was at the bottom. This will mean nothing to our American listeners, but it was at the shop that always sold the best Star Wars things at the bottom of that street in Swindon. The toy shop on the corner. It was
called Trent's.
Trent's.
I remember that.
And that's where I bought it.
I went in there one day with my mum and dad, or just our mum, and they had a Han Solo blaster in there, and I never bought it. And it was like one of those things. If you could go back in time, it was the thing that I would always wish I'd bought. But yeah, the original Slave One, it had like this L-shaped thing that was like, I suppose, like the door to go into it, and it never fitted. It always popped out, but it was so much. It's such a great toy.
I wish I'd had it.
It was such a great.
But why I chose to buy this weird, and it wasn't anything part of the Kenner version of Slave One, and I had it right until I was about 20, and I have no idea where it went. But it was the fact that you could take all the wings and the panels off,
right?
But you couldn't really see anything underneath. It was bizarre to me. Bizarre to me.
I don't know. Okay, my number 7. I'm going to actually go for episode 3, but I'm going to just have Natalie Portman in episode 3.
Okay.
Because her performance in that, like I say, she had some terrible lines. I'm probably going to reference Mr. Plinkett, but that scene where he says, "I know I'm so in love with you," and she says, "Oh, so love has blinded you." He puts a laugh track behind that. Because it's almost like it's an episode of Friends or something, because the dialogue is just so bad. But especially the moment when they're on Mustafar and Anakin realizes that Obi-Wan's there and he feels betrayed by Padme, and Padme is going, you're going down a path I just can't follow. And that is just hard, because she sells that so well that her heart literally breaks, because she dies in the end from a broken heart is what she dies from. The droid says we can't find anything physically wrong with her, but she just seems to be losing the will to live because she's lost Anakin. So just for that, and I think Natalie Portman is a great actress, right from Leon.
Oh God,
to other things I've seen her in. It doesn't matter what it is; she always gives it like 100%. And she's one of my V for Vendetta was another one.
Yeah,
that she was just
Black Swan.
She's just such a good actress.
Yeah, she really is.
So I
haven't seen enough of her at the moment.
No. But I'm had to put her in just as her own thing.
Fair shout.
I'm having that in there. So okay, you're number 6 then, Neil.
That was the pod race.
You're right. That was a pod race. You're absolutely right. So my number 6 is episode 3 again, and it's actually Anakin's final fall to the dark side.
Right.
So he's got these visions that Padme is going to die in childbirth, so he will do anything. He's having fights with the Jedi as well, because the Jedi won't put him on the council as a Jedi master. They want him basically as a spy to see what Palpatine's doing. But it's that scene when he's at his home and he can see the Jedi Temple, and he knows that the Jedi are going to go and ask Palpatine to give up his power, basically. And he's got that. I mean, it's the best acting that Hayden Christensen does in the whole trilogy. Well, he's not in the trilogy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially in this episode, and he's got tears in his eyes, and you can see the pain in his eyes, and he knows that he has to do something. So, and it's weird, because there's times when I put myself into that place, and you think it's a heady afternoon, and there's lots of stuff going on, and it's kind of like he knows that what he's going to do now is going to tip him over the edge. And when he gets there, he sees that Mace Windu is threatening the only person that can save Padme, apparently, with a lightsaber. So he has to defend him, and again cuts off Mace Windu's arm or hand. Was it his hand? Enough so it disables him, so that the Palpatine can then throw him out the window with force power.
But did he die?
It did. Well, I mean, he fell God knows how long.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if Samuel L. Jackson gets a chance, like you say, he wants to be Windu again, doesn't he? But then and then he succumbs to the whole thing, and then he's lost to the dark side,
drawn into the dark side.
Yeah. And I mean, I've when I was watching Phantom Menace a couple of weeks ago, and the moment that I think that Anakin leaves his mum, that's when the first seed of Darth Vader is planted, because it's that thing of attachment, the thing of now he has to leave her. And although
two strange men,
yes, exactly, one with a pawn tash, and one with a ponytail. So that's what I felt like. That's the sort of start of it. But
okay, well, that makes perfect sense. Never really thought about it.
Yeah,
honest,
but then you've also got the fact that obviously he's made that step. He's helped the Emperor, and that's what really pisses me off, is because all through it the Emperor said, you know, I can help you save Padme, and as soon as he's done this and given himself to the Emperor, the next thing he says is, I'm sure if we work together, we can find what it is that can create life. If I was him, then I'd go, hang on a minute.
Yeah,
you said that you knew how to do it. All of a sudden now we've got to work together.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Hang on a minute. That's not fucking right. So yeah, so it's that for me is like the moment that he becomes obviously fully Darth Vader and gets christened as Darth Vader. Okay, we're halfway through, Neil. So it's time for this.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
It is pop quiz, hot shot. So you've not done one of these on your own, have you?
No, never.
Okay, well, I've got 10 questions
on
the prequel trilogy. So some might be about episodes 2 and 3 as well.
That's all good. That's all
okay.
Good.
Now, the usual sort of score is around 3 out of 10, 30%. And it was the Chaser, got 8, I think 8 or 9 out of 10. And I think Joe Elvin got 8 or 9 out of 10 for the David Bowie episode as well. So anyway, here we go. Here's your number 1. Which planet does Attack of the Clones begin on?
Is it Coruscant?
Yeah. It is. Well done. Well done. 1 out of 1. Oh, I've lost my pen lid. Okay, number 2. What is Count Dooku's Sith name?
No, I can't remember. I'll be thinking a long time. I can't remember.
It was Darth Tyrannus. Number 3. Which Australian actor played a young Owen Lars, future uncle of Luke Skywalker?
It's what's his name? I can see his picture now. Oh man, he's in a film I watched not so long ago where he's what was it called? Safe, when they're in the house, they're in that lodge and they can't go out at night. Oh, what is his name? He's quite a big actor now.
He is a big actor.
I can't think what his name is off the top of my head.
It was Joel Edgerton. Number 4. Which A-list actor was in the running to voice General Grievous?
I don't know this offhand, but I'll take a guess as George Clooney.
It was Gary Oldman.
Oh, okay.
It was, yes. Number 6. How many were present at the wedding of Anakin and Padme?
So the person doing the wedding and the droids, wouldn't it? So 5?
Yeah, it's correct. It is. Well done. It's 5. Number 7. What species is in charge of the Trade Federation?
What are they called? Obviously, there was a lot of calls about racism.
There was a lot of calls about racism, yeah.
Oh, I can't think what they're called. I only watched it recently. No, I don't know. No, go on. I do know.
It was Nemoidians. Nemoidians. Who trained Darth Sidious in the ways of the dark side of the Force?
Plagueis, wasn't it?
Oh, not well done. It is Darth Plagueis. Number 9. What microscopic organism detectable via a blood test is responsible for the Force?
Midians. Oh, what's the forward? With the Gillette razor.
That's right. You're close. You're close. I can't give you it for Midians, though.
Was it Palmidians? No. God!
Come on, Neil. You can do this. Come on.
Should never Google. You should use your brain.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good way of doing a quiz. Yeah, that is absolutely cheating.
Ah.
Come on, Neil.
Midians? No, I can't remember.
It's not. It's midi-chlorians.
Midi-chlorians.
Midi-chlorians. And finally, what is the name of the pod racing pilot whom Anakin has a strong rivalry with?
Does it begin with a J? No, I'm gone then.
No?
It
doesn't begin with it doesn't begin with a J. Huh?
A?
No.
B? C? No, I don't know.
It's Sebulba.
Sebulba.
So there you
see,
go.
these are things I know, but are at they're pushed back to the recesses. Was it 3?
You got 3 out of 10. So that's a good average score, Neil. So don't worry about that. Yeah. That was good. Okay. We're back. So we need your number 5.
So it's Obi-Wan and Anakin's fight on Mustafar.
Battle of the Heroes. That's my number 5.
Yeah.
That's my number 5.
It's a fight that maybe should be up higher, but there's some bits in it that just... I think watching it now, or the lava is a bit of a off, I just think to myself, I know they're Jedi, but they would have burnt to a cinder.
I think especially when they're on those they're on that little raft.
Yeah, it was a bit too. I mean, it blew me away the first time I watched it because visually it is stunning with the way the lighting and everything is. But now I'm just like, it's just too much. Yeah,
and I think some of the readings I don't understand. Again, some of the ways that Hayden Christensen says things in there. You don't underestimate my power, and all that. And those
trying to sort of turn into Darth Vader, isn't it?
Yeah, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is that kind of thing of making him sound a bit more mechanical before he is mechanical. But the actual lightsaber battle of that is great.
And Ewan McGregor is fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Anakin, I have the higher ground.
Yeah. You're my brother, Anakin. I love that.
All of that. It's just moving.
That. And then you want to talk about something that is grisly and horrible when he burns up.
Yeah.
I mean, that is 18 certificate. That is 18 certificate kind of gore. It is brutal.
It really is.
It really, I mean, I was amazed when I watched it the first time because I think it must have been a PG-13, wasn't it? Was
yeah,
it
12A.
12A.
For us.
It was like that's some real bad stuff. Even to the point when they're making him into Darth Vader and they're picking the bits of like leather off of his burnt, charred skin and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it had to be. Again, some people might think it's higher than that. I don't know, but
like I said, it had the potential. It's got moments where it's fantastic, and then it's got moments, like we said, where it's a bit like, okay, so that's what lets it down, I think. But overall, I think Ewan McGregor it's Ewan McGregor's movie, but
yes,
that fight, it's almost heartbreaking.
It is, but that's good. Both of our number 5s, so that's another one we've got the same. Or I say another one. Have we got? Oh, that's the only one we've got. No, we've got pod race. We had the same.
The pod race, yeah.
So we've got 2 so far. Okay, you're number 4 then, Neil.
So this is Yoda and the Emperor having their little skirmish, their fight. What are they called? Those pods of the Senate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great fight. But, I mean, I'm going to talk about it anyway, because... when Attack of the Clones came out, we knew Yoda was going to fight. They announced it. Yoda is going to fight, and I panicked, as did probably every Star Wars thing. We were thinking a little puppet is not going to be able to fight. It's going to be like Kermit holding a floppy lightsaber, and it was panic. All right, they tweaked it a lot better, a lot more into the Revenge of the Sith, and it's a great moment. It really is. And the question is, if they'd swapped and Obi-Wan went after the Emperor and Yoda went after Anakin, would Yoda have killed Anakin, do you think?
I don't know, because the only way Yoda can fight is doing that bouncing around kind of stuff, so he can get the right height to sort of land blows. He can't do that when he's on a little a little raft on the lava. So I think that all Anakin would have done was just kicked him into the lava, and that'd have been it. Yeah, he'd have just been gone. So there would have been no high ground or anything then.
Because you genuinely think in the fight he has with Palpatine that he's gonna beat him, don't you? You think it's done for, you know, they've got the falling pods coming down and he's bouncing around, and I think, you know, we were all excited to see it, and it was quite a clever thing to not have him beat him, I think. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, with this going into episode 4 and then Yoda turning up in episode 5, he kind of had to lose, but not die, because he's in hiding. He's gone, and no one should know that he's alive, really.
No, exactly.
But I think it's also the fact that this is the Emperor at his most kind of. He's just loving the fact of how evil he is. With he's just pissing himself laughing all through it. You know, until Yoda...
He's really hamming it up.
Oh, yeah. But until Yoda turns one of those pods back and fires it back at him, he's just pissing himself, laughing about the whole thing. He's loving it. He's loving life. Because he's now, the supreme ruler, if you like. But that is a good one. Yeah, it didn't quite make my top 10, but that is a good one. Okay, my number 4, I'm going for the Execute Order 66 from episode 3.
Well, that's my number 3 of that.
Okay.
Of the list. Order 6. It's what I wrote. It's a pivotal moment.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and it's the sound, the music behind it, and it's that bit when the clone troopers are all turning against the Jedi, whoever it is with them, and Anakin is going to the Jedi Temple and slaughtering all the Jedis. You know, Master Anakin, what are we going to do? And then that little kid jumps.
Dark, isn't it? That's
so
why
dark.
I put it in there.
So dark, but it's that moment when Yoda feels that something bad has happened, and he drops his cane and is holding like his chest, and that look on his, and it is heartbreaking, and he realizes that something really, really bad has happened. Great animation on that, because that needed to be sold. It couldn't look stupid. That had to, and like I say, John Williams' music behind,
which is a great piece of music.
Yeah, it's just so great, and it's unsettling to watch. It really is, because it's. I mean, there aren't many of the Jedi that you've kind of grown to love as such, but it's the fact that these Jedi are just being massacred now.
And it's like you say, the bit with the younglings and everything like that, you're like, Jesus Christ, they are going there then.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you say, it's brutal, it is, and it's dark. But I always forget how dark Revenge of the Sith really is, you know, because there's a lot of moments, there's a lot of humor in that movie. There
is.
And you completely forget how dark the overall thing really is. It's the downfall, isn't it? So.
And the fact that Yoda does that real cool moment when the 2 clone troopers that are with him get the call about Order 66, and he realizes, jumps up and cuts both their heads off with a lightsaber in one fell swoop, and then pops on Chewie's back, and
away they go.
And away they go, you know. But yeah, that's it's a very, very, like I say, very dark moment. Okay, so your number 3 was Execute Order 66.
Yeah.
My number 3, I'm going for the same as I did with Natalie Portman. I'm going to have episodes 1, 2, and 3 for Ewan McGregor.
Okay.
Because I don't think the prequel trilogy would be as good if Ewan McGregor wasn't Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think he's the best thing in the Kenobi TV series. I think he's so good in that.
He's so good as Obi-Wan, isn't he? He is Obi-Wan. I know Alec Guinness, but...
I don't care, but I think Obi-Wan Kenobi is the most powerful Jedi I've seen. He never loses a fight, as in a lightsaber fight. The only fight you would say he lost was against Darth Vader in A New Hope, and even then, he gave himself to the Force.
Yeah, he did it on purpose.
So he didn't do it. But every other fight, he kind of
No, he
wins.
doesn't.
And so I feel like, Yoda doesn't win every fight that he's doing. I mean, maybe the Dooku fight in where Yoda takes over.
Yeah.
Maybe you can call that a draw. Maybe. Maybe
But
Count
you're right,
Dooku. Maybe Count Dooku at the start of episode 3. Maybe does best him. Oh shit! I've just.
Does he best him, or does he just?
Because he moves him out of the way and then puts that big girder over him. Doesn't he?
But is that not because of Anakin?
Possibly.
Maybe he's distracted trying to protect Anakin.
Yeah. But I do.
But yes,
I
agree. He's the best thing. The only thing I'll complain about, and I still can't get over, is his hair in episode 1.
Yeah.
Just it's weird. I know that they linked it that then
it's the Padawan.
Little Anakin, Anakin.
Yeah.
It's still, I thought he's nearly fully fledged Jedi.
Yeah.
Surely he could have got rid of that silly, but that's only a person.
Yeah. I mean, to me, like I've said before, the hair in episode 2, either make him wear a wig all the way through it, or do something.
I agree with that.
But yeah.
And he's a good-looking fella as well.
He's a good-looking fella. The one thing I was going to say, can you remember on This Country podcast we did, the guy Charlie Hopkinson?
Yeah.
The impersonator.
That's right.
He's got nearly 1 million followers on YouTube now. And he does a series where it is Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Anakin sat in their living room. And then what they do is they react to the latest episode of Star Wars. And he uses deep fake for their faces, but he does the voices. It is fucking fantastic.
Oh, really?
Especially his Ewan McGregor. His Ewan McGregor impersonation with the deep fake, it just looks like his Ewan McGregor sat with a Jedi robe on, eating crisps, watching the latest episode of The Acolyte or Ahsoka or something.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
I'll put one of those videos in the video playlist. But if you go on there, put in Charlie Hopkinson on YouTube, and it is there's so many funny things because it's just hilarious, some of the stuff that goes up on there. Okay, that's my number 3. What's your number 2 then, Neil?
So it's another fight, but it is the Yoda fight from Attack of the Clones. Now, the reason I've put this so high, as I've spoken about it many times, excuse me, is the fact that every Star Wars fan was nervous as hell.
Yeah.
And the first time you see it and you realise what a fantastic job they did of how Yoda fought, it blew me away. It made, that's probably understandable why Chris Hewitt put 5 stars on Attack of the Clones. It's probably for that moment of being absolutely visually blown away that they did it. And it was a worry. It really was a worry. And I still want to, like you, I haven't watched Attack of the Clones in a while, but when I do see it, I love that. I have to stop for that moment because he literally comes in as a doddery old dwarf or whatever he looks, and you think, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, doing, doing. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
I've always said, he's there claiming disability benefit. Then all of a sudden, he's bouncing around like a bloody idiot. And then as soon as he finishes, he picks his cane up and starts hobbling again. I'm not buying any of that at all.
He can only bounce. He can't walk, pal. No legs, you see.
I don't get that. But yeah, it's a great one. One. And Christopher Lee, I think, is great as Dooku.
Always a great bad guy.
Always. He's one of those. Again, he's one of those ones. It doesn't matter what he's doing. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. Always a great performance.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good moment. It didn't make my top 10.
That surprises me.
Yeah, maybe it should have done. Maybe it should have.
Because it was such a moment, wasn't it? It's
absolutely.
We all were dreading almost, and then just being like in awe.
It could so easily. Some people may think that it's very comical, but it's the only way that he could fight.
Yeah.
Because he's so small, he has to jump around and use things to propel himself off and get up. So he can land blows basically.
Have you played the Star Wars Battlefront 2 where you can play as Yoda and all of that?
Yeah.
That's fun because it does all the same thing, but it's how strong his force is in that.
Yes.
In that game. You're like, is that right? Was that how? He has got the strong force because obviously when he's a doddery old thing, he brings out the thing, but in that game, man, you're sending Darth Vader right across the room.
Yeah, no, I feel that he's got to be one of the
It must be, mustn't
most
he?
powerful Jedi, yeah. If not the
I would say
most
probably
powerful.
is, isn't it?
Yeah.
The wisdom of Yoda and the power of Mace Windu.
I've got that up there. Bampi, you are as wise as Yoda, as kind as Luke Skywalker, as fierce as Darth Vader, as loving as Chewbacca, as smart as Obi-Wan, as brave as Han, as strong as Princess Leia, as cool as R2, as loyal as a stormtrooper, and funny as C-3PO. I thought you could say as gay as C-3PO because I mean, bless him. You know,
Yeah,
see,
he's
there's
a bit of a
been
mincer.
inclusion right from the start of Star Wars.
Yeah, so leave it out now.
So leave it out. Yeah, you know.
You don't need to worry.
You know, you
we're
can't say it hasn't been there because it has.
We're all liberal enough to let you be and be what
do
you
what
are.
you want to do.
Yeah.
Like I say, it doesn't matter because all I want is good stories.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care whether you're a man, a boy, a girl, a lady, trans. I don't care. I just want good stories.
That's all we want.
That's all we want. Anyway, I didn't think we'd go back to that well, but
yeah, but it is.
No,
it becomes a frustrating thing when they
does.
start to spoil things.
It does. Anyway, my number 2, I'm going for the opening space battle in episode 3. Now, especially, again, one of the tropes of Star Wars is like the opening. Episode 4 had that amazing shot of the Tantive 4 going, and then all of a sudden this massive Star Destroyer coming over your head. And each episode had a variation on a theme. For this one, it started off with a ship going, I think it was going like from left to right, and then 2 small fighters. And it was one long shot, if you like, of Anakin and Obi-Wan in their starfighters ready to join the battle. And what they do is they kind of drop past the ship into this massive scape, a spacescape of the battle. And I remember watching it for the first time on the big screen, and it literally took my breath away. Because it was almost like standing on the top of a high building, and then you're looking down and you drop down into it. And it was just breathtaking for me. So that whole moment, there are ropey bits in it. There are bits that don't quite make sense story-wise. But from that, right to the bit when Obi-Wan says, you know, don't you notice the shields are still up? And, oh, sorry, Master. And he fires in. And then the ships fly into the hangar bay, and they sort of spin around, the canopy's open, and Obi-Wan Kenobi jumps out and cuts 3 battle droids down. It's just so good. Great way to start an episode.
It is. It really is. But like you said, the more you think about it, the more you realise how powerful Obi-Wan really is.
Absolutely. Especially with the fact that I think he lost one of his wings of his ship and stuff like that. But it's such a good start to the movie. Okay, before we reveal our number 1s, then Neil, give us a countdown from 10 to 2, and then I'll do the same.
Absolutely. So at number 10, I've got the arena fight in Attack of the Clones. At number 9, Dooku's fight with Anakin and Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith. At number 8, Darth Maul. The first, I don't want to really call it a fight, the first appearance at the spaceship of Darth Maul. Where
skirmish.
The skirmish,
yeah.
You know, where you saw the evilness of him. And then we got Django and Obi-Wan having it out at number 7 in the rain. At number 6, the pod race. Number 5, Obi-Wan and Anakin on the lava fields, and I've got the higher ground. I can't ever stop hearing that. Number 4 is Yoda. A lot of fights in this. Yoda and the Emperor having their little skirmish and battle and force fight, as you were. Number 3, Order 66. Number 2, Yoda's fight with Dooku in Attack of the Clones. And number 1, you'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Mine was number 10, Jango Fett Space Chase on episode 2. Number 9 was the pod race in episode 1. Number 8, Yoda dispatches the Emperor's guards in episode 3. Number 7, episode 3 with Natalie Portman. Number 6, Anakin's fall to the dark side in episode 3. Number 5 is very episode 3 heavy. I just realised mine is. Number 5 is the Battle of the Heroes. That's Anakin versus Obi-Wan in episode 3. Number 4, Execute Order 66 from episode 3. Number 3, Ewan McGregor from episodes 1, 2, and 3. And number 2, the opening space battle in episode 3. So, Neil, what's your number 1 Star Wars prequel moment?
So this was my number 1 when I did just the list of the Phantom Menace ones. It stayed my number 1. It's Duel of the Fates.
That's my number 1. We got the same.
Yay! How can it not be?
Oh, wrong one.
Because I mean, still watch it. It's done so well that you're left wanting more. You know, when it cuts away to Padme and they're all fighting and little Anakin getting in the spaceship, it's just that fight in between, the whole shebang. Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, through that tunnel with whatever force field it is, the electro field.
Yeah.
And it's just, Darth Maul throughout it, he's just looking, you think, he's going to fuck you up, isn't he? He is going to get you.
Yeah.
And that's the only time, and it still is, even when you've got like the General Grievous fight, which is a great fight in Revenge of the Sith, you never felt that the Jedi were threatened, like Obi-Wan was threatened. You knew, but with that one, I thought, you've got your match coming.
Yeah.
And which is what's so great about it.
I can remember, I think I've said this before, there was a CD-ROM, just Google it, kids, if you don't know what that is, and it was called Behind the Magic, I think it was called, and it was about episode 1. And well, it was about Star Wars in general, I think, but it had some clips before the movie came out. And that moment when you've got Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon fighting Darth Maul, just the three of them like mashing it up, the very first bit of the fight. And I watched it, and I remember shouting to my wife, saying, "You got to come and look at this. This is like unbelievable." And then when you saw that bit, it's the first part of the fight that Obi-Wan and Darth Maul do after Qui-Gon's been skewered. It's just, they are just going hell for leather with each other, and then they do that thing where they both sort of stop.
That's right.
And then they go back into it again. I could just watch that over and over again. And then when you see the making of, when they're practicing it, and Ewan McGregor was just, I mean, obviously Ray Park he was
trained, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a master at it. And Ewan McGregor was there with him, like toe to toe. And I mean, I think he did use a stunt double for some of the falls and stuff like that, but it's just
the only thing I remember
breathtaking.
about the making of that I saw, and it might be on the DVD, is where Ewan McGregor admits that he couldn't stop going.
That's right. Yeah,
when he
and I
kept
think
fighting.
Liam Neeson says it as well.
Yeah.
And there's a great bit in that where he gets to choose his lightsaber. Ewan McGregor, and they bring out a box, and they say, so he kind of, I mean, it's his choice is the reason I've got that lightsaber on my wall. If he'd have chosen another shape, because I think there was like Mace Windu's was there and Qui-Gon's was there, and he chose that one, and that became Obi-Wan Kenobi's first lightsaber. So those little moments that he got to choose, but it's such a great,
and we must mention the music being with it on. It's just probably the greatest music for me from the Star Wars movie. It's from all of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Even because you can say the main theme, and obviously that's probably the most iconic music of it all. But incidental music, I think that's probably my favorite.
I think the Binary Sunset one might.
For you,
yeah. But I think for all of George Lucas's weaknesses as a dialogue writer, as a director of this kind of movie, that whole scene is top notch. Is absolutely like top of the game.
Yeah, and it hasn't dated, which is another great thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I've heard people say, but I would have thought being Jedis, they'd have been more jumpy around and spinning and back. And I thought, you don't want that. You want an old-fashioned duel with.
Exactly.
Do you remember the old swashbuckling with the swords? That's
absolutely.
What it is.
And the other thing is like I've noticed it, and it's been brought up. If you watch things like the fight with Rey and Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi, when they're surrounded by all those guards, when you watch that carefully, some of the guards, like a lot of like with John Wick as well, they're waiting for their moment that they've got to go in and into. So in real life, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Realistically, if all of them charged those two Jedi from different angles, they'd be fucked.
Yeah.
But when you first watch it, you think, oh my God, that was amazing. Then you watch it again and you see like two of them sort of going like jumping, getting ready and waiting for their moment that they've got to go into the choreography. I've watched like the Darth Maul fight with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's like he is genuinely, they're both going at him at the
it,
same
aren't they?
time,
Yeah.
and he's genuinely blocking and attacking at the same time. So it's magical, absolutely magical.
Yeah, and you see the sort of, is it aggression, do I want to say, when he's just...
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and you don't really see that again, where, you know...
Completely agree.
It's up there as probably one of the greatest Star Wars moments of all time, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be in my top 10 Star Wars moments of all time, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Okay, we've got some honorable mentions. At Musical Lyrical Lingo, hello guys. Just put hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there. There you go. At MPG_1980 said Duel of the Fates. David, said, it's David. There you go. All of Darth Maul. People argued he was underdeveloped, but I'd argue that he was just so cool. We were sad we didn't get more of him. Furthermore, no villain in the subsequent films matches his skill, so it made us want Maul even more. And the pod race in episode 1 felt long at the time, but then they extended it for the DVD release and it works even better. Jen Berg said, am I a bad person because my first thought was Tim's rant from Spaced? Still holds up. Elliot Gardner says The Rise of Vader from episode 3. Ashley Raphael said The Duel of Fates, the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan in Return of the Sith, pod racing, and the world design in general, stunning planets.
Yeah.
Dawn Sardella Ayres said Duel of the Fates, that was about it. Doug Simpson said Phantom Menace, Duel of the Fates is hard to beat in my opinion. Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan's visit to Kamino, specifically his interaction with Jango. Revenge of the Sith, so hard to choose but higher ground. Can't wait for this, he said. And Ray Hughes said the one thing he liked about the prequel trilogy was the end. So you can't really argue about that. But there you go. There you go. We've done it, Neil. May I just say, it's been so nice getting to spend the last hour or so with you, mate. It really has.
It's been nice to be home and to be able to do it.
Absolutely.
And like I say, I'll say it once more at the end. Thank you very much for all the communication that I've had down the line. It's meant a lot. It means a lot. And thank you so much.
Thank you. And I mean, have you got all the info for the links?
Do you know what?
Do you want to do it for old time's sake? Do you want to do it? There you go. So Neil, tell everybody how they can get in touch and all that gubbins.
So as you remember, you can contact us or find us on all the social medias at Top 10 Pods. Give us a click, give us a like, give us a follow. Email us at toptenpods@hotmail.com with any questions or anything you'd like to talk to us about.
Do it.
I absolutely love that. Come and help support the podcast at patreon.com/top10pods, where you can get rewards such as our episodes super early, bonus episodes, all sorts of things on there. And thank you very much to everybody that has been a Patreon top head. Is that
That's
right?
it. Well done,
Top
Neil.
head,
That's
you
it.
see?
Top head.
Check out all the links via the link tree. You can find the link in the show notes. And please do come and subscribe and leave us a rate and review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Do it.
Wonderful. And just to let everyone know, so Lisa's challenge, you said 8, I said 6. We only had 4.
4. Okay.
4 of the same.
It's not as many as I genuinely thought we would.
No, but there you go. So nobody wins. Nobody wins that. But I was to say, because you're here, Neil, everybody wins.
Well, thank you very much.
There you go.
I love you all.
Oh, bless your heart. Okay, so that's it. Neil, thank you ever so much for joining us.
No, it's been my pleasure.
We'll have you back again.
Very soon.
Very soon. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Neil won't be joining us like every week, but that's not far. It's not far into the future.
It's not far away.
It'll be soon. But Neil's going to come back and be a guest again in a few weeks' time.
Absolutely,
and then we'll be back to normal, I'm sure, before we even know it.
I know.
Before we even know it. So, Neil, thank you so much.
No, thank you, Pav. It's been an absolute joy.
Good. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching and listening. Now,
Do it.